Good afternoon. Today is March 30th, 2022, and these are the bill hearings of the Ways and Means Committee. First, we will be hearing Senate Bill 393, and Jake Whitaker from the Governor's Office will be presenting. So whenever you're ready.
Great. Thank you, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the committee. My name is Jake Whitaker with the Governor's Legislative Office, here to testify in support of Senate Bill 393 as amended. Last year, Governor Hogan announced the Project Restore program aimed at incentivizing investment and revitalization projects in underserved communities. Senate Bill 393 will establish a permanent Project Restore fund, enabling these projects to continue for years to come. Specifically, the Project Restore program provides funding for property assistance grants and business operation grants. The property assistant grants provides $2,500 a month for up to 1 year to assist in rent or mortgages in their certain areas. The business operations grant provides up to $250,000 to businesses each year for up to 2 years to assist in operational costs. Project Restore has already provided millions of dollars to businesses when they've needed it the most. If passed, as amended, Senate Bill 393 will help ensure that the state continues to invest in the revitalization and expansion of economic opportunities in underserved communities. So for the aforementioned reasons, we respectfully request a favorable report for Senate Bill 393 as amended, and I'm happy to answer any questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Okay, seeing none, thank you. That concludes the testimony on Senate Bill 393. Next, Senate Bill 929. And Eric, hey, from Senator Gazzoni's office. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. So Chair Atterbury, Vice Chair Washington, and members of the Ways and Means Committee, my name is Eric Benner here on behalf of Senator Gazzoni to present Senate Bill 929, the Admissions and Amusement Tax Sports Wagering Prohibition, which passed the Senate unanimously. Senate Bill 929 would prohibit the application of the admissions and amusement tax to proceeds from sports wagering. This corrects an oversight after passage of sports wagering in 2021. It was never the intent to have these taxes applied to sports betting, and we ask for a favorable report.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Okay, thanks, Eric. Good to see you.
Thank you.
That concludes the testimony on Senate Bill 929. Next, Senate Bill 297, Senator Young.
Thank you, Chair Atterbury, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Senate Bill 297 is a sports wagering facilities bill. This bill would prohibit a Class B sports wagering business to locate within 10 miles of an existing business in Frederick, Carroll, Charles, and Calvert County, and within 7 miles in Washington County. It expands it from 1.5 miles to the 10 in the 4 counties and 7 in the other county. And that's the total sum of the bill. Be glad to take any questions.
Are any questions for Senator Young? Okay, seeing none, that concludes the test. Oh, I'm sorry. I see you. I'm sorry. Delegate Barnes, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator Young, I just have a concern in regards to this radius that you're presenting. Being that, we put the bill together to give opportunities for minorities to participate in yet this industry, would you not consider it a hamper in putting up a radius in which Class Bs would not have an opportunity to obtain a license?
Well, I don't know about the other counties. Frederick County is a very large county. It would certainly still be plenty of opportunity there. The one in Frederick County is a female minority business already. But we're just concerned that it's very expensive to get in, and that these businesses would probably kill each other if there were too many, if they proliferated.
Always use the analogy of Chinatown, where you have a Chinese restaurant on every corner within Chinatown. And what makes one restaurant different from the other is the customer service and the ambiance in which that restaurant holds. And I just believe that when you talk about sports wagering or sports betting in a facility like that, one would have an opportunity to compete based off of what you just described, the money that they're putting into that facility. So I just think that, we need to really take a closer look at how we're trying to put up buffers or radius. And we haven't even issued the first Class B license to give them an opportunity to participate just yet. But I appreciate you presenting the bill.
Yeah. Well, I would also add that I have another bill in that I hope is passing. It will, I believe, come to your committee. It's passing out of the Senate, where we're allowing all the fraternal clubs to have 5 of the instant bingo machines. So I know that a couple of the minority businesses in Frederick are very anxiously looking at getting those. It doesn't require a great expenditure to have, and they can be profitable.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Delegate Eversole.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I've one question first, just procedurally. I'm looking at the third reader print of the bill from the Senate. I don't see the 7.5 mile radius that you refer to there. Is that being amended in somehow?
Washington County requested that. I thought it had been amended in, but possibly it hasn't. I originally presented the bill as a 10-mile radius, and Washington County opted out. And then they came back and said they were going to try to get in at 7, but that may not have occurred.
I think Delegate Eversole, I think our good friend Delegate Rose might, from what I hear, have that amendment, but.
Okay, so it's being offered as an amendment. It's just not part of the bill yet.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. 7.5, 10, any reason that we lowered it from 10 to 7.5 in certain areas?
I think Delegate Rose has the answer to that, possibly.
Well, Delegate Rose. Madam Chair, if I will certainly stand down.
Okay, go ahead, Delegate Rose.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you for the question. So when this bill originally came in, it had the counties mentioned. When it was presented originally, they amended it to remove everybody but Frederick, but Carroll very much wanted to stay in the bill. And the concerns of Washington County, after speaking with Senator Quarterman, were alleviated by their discussions on that side of the street to bring it to the 7, and that was agreeable to them. So that was, and I believe I think I sent the amendment down to our wonderful subcommittee chair, Delegate Patterson.
Yeah, I initially introduced the bill as a Frederick County bill, but Charles and Carroll and Calvert all asked to be on it, and it was passed out of the Senate with those 4 counties. And then Washington County asked to come back in on that amendment for 7 months.
Okay. Delegate Rose, did you have anything else? Nope. Okay. Thank you. Delegate Patterson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you, Senator Young, for including Charles County in this legislation. I know that you know about Charles County because you were once a town manager here. Yes. I think it's really critical that for the riverboat, I can only speak for Charles County, which is the one of the only strictly minority-owned businesses to have some security and to have restrictions regarding mileage or radius. It's my understanding that this is not the only area where there have been restrictions in prior casinos. Is that not correct? I believe that is correct.
Yes, it is.
There are
correct.
restrictions regarding other facilities. So again, thank you, and the delegation for Charles County strongly support this legislation.
Okay.
Anything else from the members on this bill? Okay, that concludes the testimony on Senate Bill 297. Senator Young, Senate Bill 647.
Thank you again, Chair Atterbury. This is a very simple bill. It's a Frederick County delegation bill. We have long had tip jars in Frederick. I don't know how many of you are familiar with those. It's actually a jar with tickets in it. You purchase them, and there are winners in the jar and then a winner for the total jar. It's been used by the veterans and fraternal organizations and the volunteer and rescue and ambulance companies. We've had it in Frederick for years. It takes a lot of time. The bartender or waiter or waitresses are not only waiting on customers for food and drink, they're also selling these tickets. And it would be much simpler for them if this was done electronically. In other words, the customer would go over and get the tickets out of a machine rather than purchasing them from a person. The game is still played exactly the same way. It just changes it from a hand sold ticket to one electronically. And it is, like I said, totally a Frederick County bill.
Questions? Delegate Patterson, is that from before? Okay, I think that was from before. Any questions from anyone else? Okay, thank you, Senator Young.
Okay, thank you very much.
That concludes the testimony on Senate Bill 647. Next, Senate Bill 251, and Danielle Ziegler from Senator Hayes' office will be presenting.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Atterbury and members of the Ways and Means Committee. I am honored to speak with you today on behalf of Senator Hayes in favor of Senate Bill 251. This is the subtraction modification for centenarians. This bill is in the same exact form as the House bill, which you guys passed, and this committee passed and the House passed. The Senate bill has no opposition and it was passed unanimously. I urge a favorable report.
Questions? Okay, thank you. Seeing none, that concludes the testimony on Senate Bill 251. Senate Bill 289, one of my favorite senators, Senator McRae.
Madam Chair, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I can't complain. Majority of your committee is in my hearing right now in budget. But for the record, Corey McRae, I'm here for Senate Bill 289. This is a bill that you all have already passed out of committee. It was the version of House Bill 27. What it does is it extends the small commercial project trust fund by $4 million and a historical tax credit. It also puts money into that $22 million into that. As stated, you already passed the iteration of this in House Bill 27. My cross file was Delegate Lucky.
Questions for Senator McRae? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Senator McRae. That ends the hearing on Senate Bill 289. Senate Bill 453, and you're not presenting, correct? Natasha Mayhew is presenting, or?
No, I got this one.
Oh, okay.
This is a bill that you have not heard thus far, Senate Bill 453, but it isn't one that's foreign to the committee. This is basically dealing with maker spaces. We have the first maker space in Baltimore City called Open Works. Many people have been there, 1400 Greenmount Avenue. We then seen the second maker space up in Weston, Maryland. And what we decided was that this is a great opportunity that we should be bringing to more jurisdictions. From that standpoint, and for folks that may not know what a makerspace is, it's a hub where people can collectively come together, rent space, but also do woodworking, 3D imaging, things of that nature in order to move the economic activity within their respective neighborhoods. What we decided to do was set up a fund for this. It will be $1 million fund where jurisdictions will be able to come through TEDCO to be able to move in a direction of similar to what Western Maryland and the Johnson Square community has done thus far.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Senator McRae? Okay, seeing none, thank you.
Y'all have a blessed day.
You too. That concludes the testimony on Senate Bill 453. Senate Bill 310, Senator Alfred, welcome back.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Senator McRae and I are sharing the B&G conference room to zoom into the Ways and Means today while we're in committee. Thank you so much, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Senator Sarah Alfred here to present Senate Bill 310, another bill this committee knows well. You heard it my good partner, Delegate Dana Jones, brought this to you and as a House version. The problem is we are experiencing more frequent but smaller storms as the climate changes across the state. Our district here in Annapolis, Edgewater, experienced not one, but 2 tornadoes and the 4th highest flood on record over the course of 14 months last year. In some cases, government reacted swiftly. In case of the flood, it was a state declared state of emergency. We were able to get grant funding out to the small businesses that were hit within a matter of days. But for the tornado we experienced in September, it was a locally declared state of emergency, did not meet the threshold, or the governor did not declare it a state of emergency. FEMA fell short. We were able, after a number of months, to get the governor's office to contribute some funding for the residents and small businesses there, but it took months. When we have a natural disaster, this committee knows well in your own district, rapid response is the key to, rebuilding someone's roof, keeping people employed, keeping small businesses afloat. So the bill as originally drafted came to you as a statewide program to reflect a bill we passed last year at the request of Commerce that would allow for, when there is a state declared state of emergency, the small minority and women-owned business account to be used for those grants or loans to be converted into grants to those small businesses that still met the criteria of SWMOBA. And I want to highlight that. The Senate, our committee, recognizing how important that SWMOBA account is, wanted to amend this bill to just be Anne Arundel County for now. And we have the blessing of our fund manager here in Anne Arundel County to do this, but then set up a statewide task force to look at what the reasonable kind of structure for a rapid response local state of emergency program would look like for the rest of the state. That task force came to us at the request of MACO. Their emergency managers get together. They would really like us to tackle this at statewide level. So the bill is twofold, enabling Anne Arundel, when we have a locally declared state of emergency, with the check of Commerce to convert loans into grants for those affected small businesses, and then the task force to recommend to us in future years kind of a broader response. I just want to highlight that we're going to see these microstorms more and more frequently over the years. And I think this is a very balanced and responsible approach to kind of tackle the immediate need while looking towards the future. I appreciate there might be some more tweaking and some more amendments this committee would like to put on the bill. As always, I'm welcome and open to that, and implicitly trust my partner, Delegate Dana Jones. And with that, Madam Chair, I request a favorable committee report.
Questions? Delegate Patterson, do you have a question? Okay, your hand's up. Okay, thank you, Senator Alfred.
Thank you.
That concludes the testimony on Senate Bill 310. Do we have Senator Roosevelt? I don't think so, so we will skip over Senate Bill 314. Senate Bill 474, Senator Edwards, welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Here to ask for support for Senate Bill 474, which is a cross file to House Bill 838, which I'm sure my good friend and partner, Delegate Buckle, has already given you all the meat of what the bill does. As I understand, he already presented it to your committee. So I'm just going to give you a couple of the changes we made over here. We added sponsors. We changed it from fiscal year from 2024 through 2028 to 2024 through 2025 at 20 million a year. We didn't have 23 in here because 23 includes the 20 million that was just sent down in the supplemental budget number 5. So that'd be 23, 24, 25 fiscal years, 20 million a year. For 60 million, the goal was to have 100 million, is what the task force recommended and what we put in the bill. So we cut it from 5 years to 3 years. We changed the starting date from October of 2022 to June 1st, 2022. So that gives us time to set up the local board, because the budget takes effect July 1. So we can have the board in place when funding comes into play. And so we have 3 years, and with the supplemental, that's 20, and then whoever in my seat, along with my colleague, Delegate Buckle, because the intent was 5 years at 20 million a year, they can come in and ask hopefully for 15 and 15 and the 2 years after that to hit that goal of $100 million. So I would ask for your support of the bill, and would happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Okay, seeing no questions. Thank you, Senator. And that concludes the hearing on Senate Bill 474.
Thank you very much.
Next, Senate Bill 554, Senator Patterson.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair and Vice Chair Washington and members of Ways and Means Committee. Appreciate this opportunity to present Senate Bill 554. Very briefly, Senate Bill 554 is designed to provide grants to nonprofit organizations with a focus on entrepreneurial training for formerly incarcerated individuals. Loans will be for those individuals who are returning from facilities, correction facilities, and will be able to apply for a loan not to exceed more than $50,000, of which 25% must be paid by the grantee. This is an effort to bring this population into the workforce by giving them a little startup push and funding to look at the business aspects that takes place in our great county and state. The funding will be managed under the operation of the Commerce Department and will have the approval or disapproval signature to act accordingly. This is a good bill. It's a cross file of House Bill 158. And Madam Chair and members, we would ask that you look favorable upon this bill. And for those who are trying to get into the system and make a contribution to our great state. I should ask you to note that in terms of the appropriation, somehow it didn't get over to the Senate when the bill was in our hands, and there's a $500,000 allocation for this program. And I just wanted to bring that to the committee's attention. With that, we thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Senator Patterson? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Senator Patterson. And that concludes the hearing on Senate Bill 554, Senate Bill 885, and welcome to the President Pro Tem of the Senate. Great to see you.
Great to see you, Madam Chair, and I'm not sure, Mr. Vice Chair, if they're here, and I see so many colleagues and my colleagues from District 25 and all of the members of the House Ways and Means Committee. I think this is my first time before this committee since being in the Senate, actually, or at least in a very long time. I'm here to present Senate Bill 885, which actually was the need for the bill was brought to my attention during the Joint Committee on Pensions over the interim. The Joint Committee chairs and I became aware of an issue with TEDCO, some funding that they had received through a mandate, but their ability to invest the funds was inconsistent with their mission and direction. So Senate Bill 885 basically takes those already allocated funds and indicates to TEDCO, you can spend them consistent with your mission and utilize them to invest in those entities and programs that are more consistent with the way you do business and not try to mirror what the state retirement and pension system does with their funds. So that's basically what the bill does. And with that, Madam Chair, I'm available for any questions you or the committee might have.
I see Delegate Lucky has a question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator, good to see you.
Good to see you.
So just to clarify for the committee, the fiscal note for this bill shows $10 million, but that's really $10 million we're just reallocating that was already supposed to go to this. It's just in a different format.
Correct. Basically, it creates a different process for them to be able to utilize the funds. The funds were allocated through a mandate some years ago.
So arguably, this is not really a $10 million spend. And then it becomes an evergreen fund, right? As these loans are paid back, that money is then cycled back into minority-owned businesses, right?
That is correct.
Great. Thank you, Senator.
Any other questions? Delegate Barnes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator.
Yes, sir.
You have a great day.
Thank you. 2-5.
Are there any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, thank you.
Thank you for having me. Have a great afternoon.
And that concludes the testimony on Senate Bill 885. And last, Senate Bill 314, Senator Roosevelt.
Thank you very much. My apologies for being late, and I appreciate you calling me up in any case. So this creates $1 million worth of income credits for the next 5 years to stimulate investment in mechanical insulation. We often tend to think of insulation. We all think insulation is a good thing. It saves energy, keeps us warm. We don't often think of mechanical insulation, which is the big boilers in commercial buildings, and big residential buildings. We lose a lot of heat there because you have old systems. Sometimes they haven't been kept up. And so what this does is to stimulate investment in insulating, going in, identifying the problems, and providing the insulation that is needed to make those more energy efficient. It's 30% tax credit. We capped it at $1 million a year. Happy to answer questions.
Delegate Lucky.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator, good to see you.
Same here.
I love the intent of the bill. My question is, why structure it as a tax credit instead of a matching grant program? And I ask that for two reasons primarily. One, because, with a tax credit, you're not getting any benefit from it till you file taxes, which is often, a long time after the investment.
Mm-hmm.
And two, because it's not refundable. If a company is applying for this and receives the credit, then there's a chance they won't get any benefit from it if they don't have any tax liability.
I would say two things. One is, and there's been this debate back and forth between the House and the Senate for some time. We tend to support credits because from a business point of view, they generally are seen as easier. People regularly file tax returns. The idea of having to apply for a grant, go through another bureaucratic process is generally less attractive to businesses. With the tax credit, if you do it right, you file your taxes, you get the economic benefit. So I think there's a simplicity aspect to credits in general. On the refundability, you can make it refundable. But the larger point I want to make is I'd like to get this going one way or another. If you all felt strongly you wanted to make it a grant, I wouldn't slit my throat. But that's why we made it a credit.
Well, I hope you wouldn't do that under any circumstances.
Thank you.
I appreciate the answer, Senator.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Okay, thank you, Senator Roosevelt.
Thanks a lot.
And that concludes the testimony on Senate Bill 314, and that concludes the hearings for the Ways and Means Committee today. See everyone on the floor later today. Thank you, everyone.